Ogunsola Ayooluwa and just a normal person, just an average individual. I'd like to thank every individual who comes together to make Ibadan Book Club possible. Please, a round of applause for this. It's imperative that I say that meetings like this are what foster societal development. So I'd like to thank you guys for bringing up young people to get involved in reading books, explore their talent, and all of that. Thank you very much. So today I'm going to be telling you about a little bit about myself and about my poetry. Welcome. Thank you. So in 2017, I realized that I was going to the university then, and I realized the need for environmental activism in Nigeria. So I started to learn about not just what they taught us in school. I started to learn outside school, and in order to kind of express myself better, I started making use of poetry. So sometimes when you meet people and tell them about what you do, it's difficult for them to understand because there are a lot of complex terms in science. So I have to okay, this is what we're talking about climate change. So I have to explain and break it down to them. So I started making use of poetry. So I between the lines of complexity. I always make use of poetry. So I started to learn work with organizations that are involved in environmental activism. The need for environmental activism was very open to me. And then I started one way or the other, people started asking me questions, I started giving answers to questions, I started writing on particular things, and that's why I am here today. So today I'm going to be talking about one of my poetries, which I find extremely interesting, titled What Would Our Sun Say? It's a poetry that explains sustainability. I hope I'm not using too complex words. I'm trying to, as much as possible, break things down so everybody knows. Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. So I started with What Would Our Sun Say? And the poem actually looks at sustainability. What does the next generation expect from us? It's very sad that the activities that we involve in as individuals can affect the next generation if we do not take particular steps. Sustainability is built around preparing for the next generation. Alright, preparing for the next generation. So this poetry asks us and kind of urges us to take action towards sustainability. So I'm going to read. What would our son say? That's the name of the poem. What would our son say when they hear that the earth was once green and beautiful and a place to have been? What would our sons say when they hear trees existed? Would they feel sad or would they feel elated? What would our sons say when they hear we destroy the habitat of caterpillars, wanting to be butterflies or millers? What would our sons say when they hear that the beautiful birds once planted their nests on treetops? Would they blame us or would they feel bad for their ill luck? What would our sons say when they heard that we couldn't fight global warming and climate change, but we effortlessly deforested for a book's page? What would they say when they heard that we used vehicles that emitted gases, destroying the ozone layer, and still burn down vegetation cover? What would our sons say when they heard that we knew about the rising sea levels and the melting ice caps? Yet, all we wanted to do was to get nectar from the fruit tree sap. Our sons will say, that generation expected us. They were selfish, they never thought of the future, and they were a blind generation. At International Youth Summit, or any summit at all, when I'm about to talk about the environment at all, this is one of the poems I introduced first. This kind of brings up a kind of feeling of, what is this guy trying to say? What exactly is this? Because if you listen to the poetry, you see that it kind of accuses everybody of doing something wrong.
Exactly.
And you thinking about it, you'll be like, okay, this person said I did something wrong. Naturally, the human mind is going to be protective. things I say after I read this question is like, calm down. I'm just about to start the show. So climate change. If you notice, there were particular keywords. So I want, as much as I'm going to be talking about my question, how many minutes do I have? How long do I have? So I can know how. 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Good. In fact, that's going too much on me. Yes. So I'm going to explain a bit about what some keywords are used in poetry, like climate change, global warming, so that we all learn, not that we just read poetry, we just enjoy the thoughts of it and fantasize about it. No. I'm going to be explaining some keywords, and that way we can learn and see how we can take action as young individuals. So I'm going to first talk about the first word, global warming and climate change. I'm going to put them together, not together. So, if we notice, and for the other, I think Baba was there now, if you notice in the last 50 years, although I wasn't born there, in the last 50 years, you notice the environment was way different. If you go to the north, the way the environment was, the weather at that particular time was different. If you go to the southwest Nigeria, you realize that the weather was way different. There are some particular trees that we plant then that can't grow now in southwest Nigeria. And the question is why. You notice that throughout the year, for example in the throughout the year there was rain. You notice that you ask yourself questions on why is the weather going like this? Why is the climate of a particular area changing at particular intervals? You need 30 years, it's just strange. Sometimes the sun will come out extremely at times when it's not meant to come out. And the question is why. According to scientists, I'm not bringing in religion now. According to scientists, we cut trees down and it affects the ozone layer. And in the process of cutting trees down, trees naturally absorb greenhouse gases. These greenhouse gases like CO2, methane, kind of like help balance the ecosystem. But then as we cut trees down, we kind of destroy everything. Then if you notice, there were about 50 years ago, there were not much cars like there are cars now. So in that way, it's kind of reduced and affected our environment. And that's in the area of air pollution. So when they teach us air pollution in secondary school or primary school, there's air pollution, they're not really teaching everything. It's a more breakdown. There are particular gases called greenhouse gases that affect our ozone layer. And there are projections that by 2050, particular places, for example, in Lagos, will be wiped out. If you notice, I don't know if you've been to the beach, this beach in Elegushi Beach. There's people start building houses near the beach already. Yes, not even apart from that. Not even that. If you notice, I don't know which beach it is. I can't really remember. We were doing the area photography of the particular beach, and we noticed that the beach is here, and people's houses were here. Now, yes, and if you notice, we now measure the centimeters of the beach at 2010, where the water was getting to at 2010. We realized that it had already gone to about more than 50 centimeters from 2010 to 2020, and that is very huge. And the question is, how does climate change and the sea rising, how does it come together? How does climate and the sea, how does it come together? It doesn't really sound sensible. But the thing is, in the Antarctica, which is the region of the Earth which is covered by ice, as a result of greenhouse emissions, as a result of some gases, the world is getting warmer, and that kind of melts the ice. I hope you guys are going with me.
Yes, we are going with you.
Yes. It kind of melts the ice, and that way it goes into other oceans. Now, okay, for example, you know that Nigeria is around the Atlantic Ocean. So, good. So, all these seas are kind of connected together. So, when the ice starts to melt in Antarctica, it starts to increase. That's why I said that some places in Lagos will be wiped out because water is going to be filled up. And everything we are talking about here is by 2050, we should start seeing like strong changes. In fact, if you notice the weather now, when I came to Ibadan, when I realized that the Harmattan just started recently, not enough. It should have started before. So these are some of the things that the world leaders are trying to come together, bring youth together to write about, talk about, and by hard work, I've been able to be part of the individuals who speak about this type of things. So I'm going to read what would our sons say. Hopefully, when I'm reading now, you should be able to go along with me. I want to see if there's any word that I haven't really explained. Okay, so when I read the poem now that you have an understanding of a little bit about climate change now, I want you to follow through with what I'm saying now. So, what would our sons say when they hear that the earth was once green and a beautiful place to have been? What would our sons say when they hear trees existed? When they feel sad or they feel, would they feel sad or would they feel elated? What would our sons say when they hear we destroy the habitat of caterpillars, waiting to be butterflies or millers? What would our sons say when they hear that the beautiful birds once planted their nest on treetops? Would they blame us or would feel bad luck for their in-law? What would our sons say when they hear that we couldn't fight global warming and climate change, but we effortlessly deforested for a good space? So we cut down trees for, paper. We get paper from trees. So that explains that. What would our sons say when they hear that we use vehicles that emitted gases, destroying the ozone layer, and still burn down vegetation cover? What would our sons say when they hear that we knew about the rising sea level and the melt